Chairman Jam, good afternoon. Very good to see you. Everything all right? Yes, we are well. Business as usual. Having this meeting online has been a very appropriate decision. Otherwise, it might have been dangerous to health. Just wait a little bit more. Yes, everybody is scared. The thousands of cases. Vaccination is not going well, so we decided to do this online. Hopefully next year we can have a physical meeting. The speakers will be coming in now. Mr. Ebru Arıcı had a health emergency, so Iskender will replace her from their executive board. So, Mr. Chair, before you start, our viewer traffic is more than 4,000 people now. Hopefully tomorrow we are going to have as many audiences today. So have a good session. Thank you, Feraye. Hello. Yes, we are already late. Let me start with Murat. He's in the field now. His background is forest, trees. Murat, we don't have a lot of time. We have 11 minutes per presentation. I'm sure you can use the 11 minutes well. Thank you very much, Chair. You know, I'm in the nature. I'm in the field. It was very difficult to find a good connection. I guess you can see it now. We tried to do a tender as Turkey. We didn't get any bids because they said you don't have infrastructure. The foreign parties are asking about offshore projects. Over to you. Thank you very much. Feraye, thank you very much for this offer, for this opportunity. I'm going to be talking about offshore wind power plants. We do have some projects in the Black Sea. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be talking about the association of offshore wind power. Now, our association was established in April, a new association, but we are bringing good energy and excitement to the sector already. About the initial processes, we have created awareness in the public sector, in the domestic sector, with the banks, with the international organizations. seven of us, it's maritime people and energy people, in order to promote the industry and utilization of offshore wind. That's the main concept. It's not based on projects. We are going to be yelling production and industry. So until our association was established, the discussion was not intensive. There was no awareness. Looking at the international arena, offshore energy associations are separate from others in Norway, in Germany, in US, in UK. So that's why we set up the association. Looking at wind turbines from 19th to 21st centuries, now it's around 15 megawatts. I was involved in the sector back in the 90s. It used to be 600 kVA. You see one of the largest turbines in the world, 14 megawatts. And then we do have 25 megawatts. This was taken in Copenhagen, in the offshore fair and symposium. These are prototypes, of course, because of the pandemic, things became tardy. This, 25 megawatts single unit. It's going to be commercialized in near future. It's being tested. 25 megawatts single turbine. 4 turbines means 100 megawatts. It's just like a medium scale thermal power plant. So offshore, the future will be offshores. So what does it look like? You see the turbines. It comes to the switchyard. It's under or over the sea, and then to the national grid. So I looked at initial capacity around the world. You see thermal 29 to 63% back in 2020. Solar 10 to 21%, terrestrial wind 22 to 43, offshore 29 to 52. Those Heliade turbines will increase the capacity by 60% or so, just like combined cycle generation plants. It's going to catch up with geothermal turbines even. Looking at Europe, there's similarities. We are following the European example. By 2030, they have a target for offshore wind plants. It's not only in Europe, in US, in Australia, in China, Taiwan, Vietnam. And everybody is setting up targets now. I hope we are going to have targets also. By 2040, biggest importance will be given to offshore wind plants. I'm going to be older than 70 by then, but we will all see that the major source of electricity generation will come from offshore wind plants. And in many countries, they have a dedicated law for offshore wind power. And the purchase guarantee varies between 15 to 20 years. This is important. And the maritime zoning and grid connection planning is done jointly by working groups bringing together several countries, and we are looking at Black Sea region. The tender system is similar. They are going to introduce a no incentive market mechanism. Transmission is mostly, the transmission line is built mostly by the offshore plant investor, but there are some subsidies for this. Looking at capacity projection by 2030, I'm going to show you the countries. I made this presentation 4 years ago. A similar presentation, actually. This GWEC projection was 205 megawatts, but last month, YDEC, this month actually, GWEC published a revised report. They added 70 gigawatts. So the countries have increased their capacities. For instance, Europe jumped from 80 to 100. US jumped from 30 to 39. China said 70, and now it's 98. Turkey is more new, of course. Taiwan, Vietnam, China are coming in. The Black Sea countries are coming in. It's going to be 300 gigawatts or so. Now, we have the energy net. You see, in the North Sea, this is just like a ring. 10 gigawatt, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Norway, UK. They want to create this economy of scale, of course.
So, through this collaboration, they are sharing the cost of under sea level cable costs, and also they are reducing the risks. As you know, there are different connections in the same place, and some problems can actually completely disable a central power plant. And also Poland, Germany, and Sweden, they're doing the same thing. They have different offshore wind power plants. And we said, could we adapt this to Black Sea countries? We said, could we come up with a federation of some kind? As you know, federations consist of different associations coming together. So we got into contact with the relevant associations in those places and areas. And it has a wind power capacity of almost of about 269 gigawatts. And this is actually in total 435, and there are those claim it is different, so it is data by the World Bank. And we came up with a name, Black Sea Offshore Wind Power Association and Hub. We said, why not? This could be shared between those countries. So the grid planning, the maritime planning, the fishing activities, all of these are very important and need to be planned together. This can actually be good in terms of reducing costs. Also, developing the legislation and also the regulations. This is actually a chance because they have not done it before. We thought maybe we could all do it together. So the planned countries were Turkey, Bulgaria, Georgia, and we did not include Russia for reasons you may have actually predict and understand by ourselves. And we said, if the country is going in this direction for the year 2040 or 2050, we're looking at our country and say we are surrounded by sea on 3 different sides in 3 different directions, so we cannot actually elude this. And this is especially important in the Black Sea region. As you know, in Izmir, there is a very important power plant and project, and the Çandar Liman project is also in Izmir, which we hope will be active soon. And so the wind turbines being procured provided by Germany or the UK, etc. It is not okay for us. They have in these areas very good maritime infrastructures, and we will strive to include Turkish-made ships as much as possible, and also establishing connection between countries economically and in maritime trade. It is very important for us as well. Well, this was just a template for me, sketching for me, just as an example. Why not have a connection system that looks like this, a model like this? You can have it in Europe. Why not in the Black Sea countries? Of course, we signed a protocol with a federation protocol with the Ukrainian state, and we hope to bring things into life in the upcoming months. Ukraine, after us, to the World Bank and got funds for maritime activities. So, like I said before, we do not want only the market, the offshore wind energy market, but we also want the industry. It is a must, put simply. And we are saying that regulation must be put in place in our country as well, because they are prevalent in Europe. We cannot stay back in this. There are regulations 4465, but they are not efficient enough. If our country in the area of Black Sea wants to be the leader, the pioneer, which is what we strive for in terms of engineering and science as well, things must be put in place by 2030 at the latest. Can you hear me right now? Yes, I can. By the way, you have went over time, 2 minutes, and Halil Bey has a flight that he must get to. So if we can get to questions and answers, or when can Turkey accomplish these plans? Can we please talk about those? Yes, so our Ministry of Energy is working to this end, and they hope to announce a roadmap for this. They're working with the bank. And as far as I could see, things are going to be coming into fruition next year in terms of wind power plants, or offshore wind power plants in our country. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your great contribution. So, Halil Bey will take the stage now. Can we please get him to the stage? Yes, there was a change. If you would like to, we can continue on with the next speaker. When Halil Bey is with us, I will be getting him into stream. Okay. We can get trip in order. Sadi Bey, can you hear me? Yes, Iskender Bey, hello. In wind, we went over the 10 gigawatt capacity threshold. And we are seeing meaningful developments in our sector. So, according to you, for more wind investments to take place, what should be done? And also these mechanical increases. There's announcements made by PDK. So are they in any way relevant to your efforts? Sturep, you have 11 minutes. Okay, I will get right into it. I will also be sharing my presentation. I noted down your questions. After my presentation, I will be answering your questions. Yes, I guess I can see my presentation right now. Once again, hello everyone. My name is Iskender Köke. I would like to salute everyone on my behalf and also on behalf of TÜREP. And also I would like to send my salutations to our head, Ebru Aracı, couldn't be here due to health problems. So I will be summarizing what has been happening in the sector up till now, and in the future, what will the sector require from us? As you know, TÜREP in 92 has been founded as a non-profit organization, and we have different representatives as executive members, decision by the Council of Ministers, by the Ministerial Cabinet, and from students to academicians to producers and manufacturers. This is actually an umbrella organization. And let's get to the figures about today's wind power figures in Turkey. Like, as you have said, Cem, we have went over 10 megawatts, and we have done this with 272 power plants that are active and more than 3,000 wind turbines. And in the first half of 2021, our total electric consumption, 9.22% was generated from wind power, and the total capacity factor is 34%. It was 34% in 2020, and in the EU countries it was 25%. So we are a bit better in this. As it was just mentioned, we've also worked to the employment and contributed added value to the Turkish economy. Thousands of people are producing and manufacturing in this sector, and many of our manufacturers are exporting their products and creating added value for Turkey. So in the next years, we believe that our goal should be 1.5 megawatts. And this can actually be achieved very easily with the infrastructure, the distributions, and the grids we have in place. And on the investor side, they are very much favoring these projects as well. We are accelerating. And I talked about the installed power of almost 10.5 megawatts, and we also have those in construction right now of almost 12 megawatts. And other than those, for a power plant of 200 megawatts, we had construction permissions, and we are starting the construction works. As you know, our ministry distributed licenses in the year of 2019, and we had one license. So our power plants that are in construction right now that will be active, added to the other ones that were active, we have almost a project stock of 15,000. And after Yakabires, we have the Kires, the Cost2 res. And we have distributed the licenses there as well. And in total, the distribution amounts up to 16 watts. And some of them are actually works in progress right now, and some of them are in construction work, and some of them are already completed. And for Heka 3, recently our ministry announced the call And after the success, this we will be talking about a project stock of almost 2,000 gigawatts. And our goal for 16 gigawatts of installed power will be achieved through this, we believe, and we can even do more than this as a sector. And our local industry, domestic industry, it is very much developed, especially in Izmir. There are those who manufacture the towers and relevant parts. We must highlight this when we say wind power sector. We cannot only think of the investor or the installed power. There is this whole new level of wind power sector, and with the investments in this sector, we are continuing to create added value for our country. And as TRIP, we are trying to map out this sector with the Izmir Development Agency. And in this inventory work, those who are active producing or creating employment opportunities in the wind power sector, we are seeking out those, and we are getting x-rays of how much employment they give away to, or how much production they achieve. And our plans for the future is taking this one step further, not only for market efforts, but also supporting the industry so that they can contribute to the country's economy and also development, the employment. And as a country, I think we can say we are in a very good spot. So this local supply chain we have created, and the rankings of EU countries as well, is in a very tight spot. And as such, these capabilities we have called, we must work all together to take them one step further, like Murat Başkan has just said, Murat Bey has just said. Our headquarters are in Izmir, Istanbul, Kocaeli, and when the rings between them, our producers are continuing their activities, and in total we are active in production of wind power in 15 different cities. And as TRIP, to activate the existing capacities right away and also taking things to better places, we are working together to communicate and partner with the actors and the stage. We have three different groups: offshore groups, hybrid groups, and industrial groups. And under all of these titles, among our members, there are people who are experts and who can give way to big amounts of created value, added value. And our work will be starting next month with the hybrid group. So I would like to go back to your questions, and thinking that I have used the time very efficiently. So first of all, to be able to do more installation, what you must have is actually right before you, at least right before us, there is this hunger of investors. We do not have any things that are lacking in producing the power. And when we look at the current situation, there was this 48 in total country potential in Turkey with a very old technology, but today we think that we can actually take things to a much better place. What we need is with a better planning process, and also with better and faster bidding and licensing processes, we can get investors and actualize projects and create added value. So for this, on both the public side and the private sector, we are continuing with our efforts. And there was a call for 1.2 gigawatts, as you know, and recently, and we'll be following this process very closely. And I hope each year when we meet, we'll be talking about much bigger figures for the wind power industry.
Iskender, thank you very much. About the mechanical increase, what would you say? The EMRA. You know about what EMRA expects from investors. The investor and EMRA agenda is always quite high. The talks are ongoing. The most up-to-date information can be shared later because I'm not up to date about that. Thank you very much. In wind capacity, determination is very important. You need to have strong infrastructure and the investor appetite has increased seriously these days. The more capacity opened, the better for the investor. Thank you. Over to Altan now. Altan, hello. Hi. Biogas sector, our challenges, our sector roadmap. What has Turkey done? What should Turkey do to increase investments? Thank you very much in advance. Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me talk about the association. It was established in 2007. No, we didn't have a biogas sector back then. It was an association for developing biogas sector. There were no investors. For years, we've been working on developing, improving the sector. And we explained the importance of the proper way of doing business to the sector, to the government. But the developing part is over now. It's going to be a biogas investors association because the sector has developed, 100 facilities already for wet fermentation, excluding incineration. Of course, this, we have developed the sector. Domestic production is 80% now, excluding cogeneration, CHP. With the new renewable support mechanism, we were struck now. We don't have the biomass sector, they told us. It's 54 kurush, 54 Turkish cents. I mean, if the value is 54 kurush today, and they estimate for 13 months later 54 kurush. With this amount, you cannot invest. So this is over. Because in renewable sector, we are the most disadvantaged. Because we need to obtain something from someone. We need to have waste. We have to have waste owners. They need to give their waste to you, so we can do something. They wanted to get rid of their waste, but now they want to make as much as possible, and we do the transportation. And 1 ton of poultry waste is 30 lira. 20 lira for transporting is 50 lira per ton. And for cow waste, you know, it's almost 6% solid matter. So 54 kuruş was bad news, and this is another bad news for us. So 1 megawatt, 3 megawatt, no, only municipalities can handle this. The municipalities should set up the biogas facilities. They will do wet fermentation or whatever. Otherwise, the private sector cannot do this with these prices. Because in private sector, you know, whatever input you have, that's the output you have. You know, the farmers are okay. They give the waste to us, and 100 tons of waste to manage it, I need to have a separate facility, you know. And then you need to organize sales, a sales network, salespeople, chiefs, directors, and then payment problems. And farmers are already scared of fake fertilizers. So we are the most disadvantaged. The renewable sector, other players are better off. They are using God's given resources like the wind, like the sun, and they don't produce pollution. If that's the case, why are we doing this? We don't consider this as energy. We are not dealing with energy. We are managing waste. The byproduct is our gas, and from that we generate electricity. We manage waste. The waste managing companies should not be included in the renewable support mechanism, YEKTEM. We are collecting waste for the sake of the environment. The Ministry of Environment sets up fewer facilities. We protect groundwater, and it means fewer treatment centers. We eliminate bugs and insects. And fertilizer prices are very high in Turkey, chemical fertilizer, and we produce organic fertilizers. When you have full fermentation for the fertilizer, for the Turkish soil, it's valuable and it's suitably priced. That being the case, we ask for fertilizer subsidy, and they support organominerals. Organominerals means chemicals in your fertilizer. Okay, it's valuable, it's important, I agree. But the company needs to invest in biogas and then organominerals and then fertilizer production. And the energy investment doesn't mean anything in this picture. We are waste management sector. We are doing part of the work for the Ministry of Agriculture, but we need support. But there is no effort about that. They ignore us. And sometimes we are sanctioned for the waste disposed of illegally by others. The Ministry of Agriculture asks for organic fertilizer to be used, but the Ministry of Environment then comes and finds us. Now the Ministry of Energy set the price. every ministry is looking at the cheapest prices, of course. That's okay. But the Ministry of Environment should say that you are managing that quantity of waste every day. So let's give you an exception. The Ministry of Agriculture should approach us like that. Also, we are accused of paying money for waste. Actually, waste producers should pay. We shouldn't pay them, because when we produce domestic waste, we pay environmental tax. But then they expect us to pay money when we get waste. But it's the other way. It should be the other way around, and everybody can raise their prices. These are abnormal prices. So the sector doesn't have any operation that can talk about megawatts. Of course, some things are going wrong in the sector. When you say biomass, everybody understands incineration. Biomass is incinerated. When you say biomass, it includes wet fermentation, dry fermentation, pyrolysis, gasification, incineration, and plasma gasification. 7 different disposal methods are used, and all of them have the same raw material virtually, but the outcomes are different. I'm against incineration because you get municipal waste. The Europe uses proper filters in all major cities. They have waste incineration stations, but they use excellent filters, and the heat is used for heating the city. But we missed that train. We cannot do that because Europe did this 40 years ago. Amsterdam uses waste heat. We started incinerating, but we are not incinerating waste. We are incinerating agricultural waste. Hey, but it should be animal feed and forest waste, cellulose. It should be gasified or pyrolyzed. Then you are going to have carbon, fertilizer, and waste heat, and then you'll use it. No water, no cooling, no cool. Then, but we cannot do that. We have cooling towers. We invest in that. In biogas, we always tell the companies to invest in accordance with the capacity. But our investors say 3 or 7 megawatts is too little. But now they cannot find waste. And this is a planning error. Now we have waste wars. Everybody is trying to get the others' waste from the farmers, etc. In garbage municipal waste, they said you are going to segregate organic waste, but the system is wrong. They said that you are going to do wet fermentation. Actually, it should be dry fermentation and then segregation. We are talking about this, but nobody listens to us. And we are not invited to anywhere. They are not inviting biogas people. The Ministry of Environment doesn't do that. They do have an environmental commission, but we don't have a representative for that. They say zero waste, and we are managing waste. And nobody comes and asks us. They don't ask about good practices. You know, you need to do benchmarking, look at other countries and adapt it to yourself. They don't do this. They don't invite us as the expert. We don't have any platform to talk about. We talk to the Minister of Energy. They say, go to the Minister of Environment. They say, go to the Ministry of Agriculture. But to reach out somewhere, we need to know where to go. We have only wet fermentation as the future in our sector. They need to go to the European system. They have 11,000 biogas facilities, but only 9,000 of them are operational. People set up their own small biogas facilities privately. In Turkey, they will say, if you have 500 cows, then you are going to set a facility of this capacity. And electricity is already too expensive, and it may be considered feasible now. Such projects are feasible now. Now 500 kilowatt or 50 kilowatt facilities will be established. Okay, you do wet fermentation, but how about the municipal waste? No new waste stations. Is there any planning? How about forest waste? They are incinerated. It's a pity. You need to do pyrolysis, get oil, and you can use wood and get wood vinegar, and you can do many things. We are just focused on electricity, though. The only focus is electricity. There are too many other benefits in our sector. You know, wind people, solar people can only generate electricity. But in our case, there are too many benefits. But we are confused about what to do. The prices don't allow us to pick any direction. Yes, too many troubles. Too many troubles. I'm sorry, but our time is over, by the way. Just a minute. Yes, I'm just trying to explain. We need smaller facilities in our sector. 50, 100, 150 kilowatts facilities, because our business is not electricity. We convert waste into beneficial products using different methods. We need to get out of the electric cycle, with the exception of incineration. It's going to be beneficial. How much benefit to environment, to agriculture? For this, we need to R&D. You know, the R&D project supports are the same compared to 10 years ago. So the grants are not enough because they are not adjusted in accordance with inflation rates. So first of all, you know, farm type biogas operations should be started. After that, small pyrolysis and gasification facilities should follow that. But all other technologies require R&D. Otherwise, we are going to be relying on foreign resources. But it's going to take at least 8 or 10 years. If you have any questions, yes, you have a lot of problems. You know, I gave you some additional time, but you have a lot of challenges, I see. You know, it's that's why I couldn't prepare PowerPoint presentation, you know, consumption production, you know, 500,000 of cow waste and 100,000 of municipal waste. And I'm talking about this many wells only. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much again, and may God help you. Each one of us. Yes. The JED, JED, General Secretary of the Association, Elif Ferdal Karakaş, I would like to give the floor to her. So in geothermal energy, we've gone over 70% and went over now 1.6 billion. So what happened in Turkey? What should be our roadmap to utilize to maximum effect? As you know, geothermal energy is kind of different in that it can be used in every area. And how are things in Turkey? So you have 11 minutes before you. On my behalf and also on behalf of my association, I would like to say hello to everyone. So first of all, we are a new association. We're established during the pandemic, so we did not have the chance to introduce us all that much. We as JED, in the discovery of our country in terms of geothermal energy, we have been established with 10 founding partners, and we are a civil society organization. Our goal is to actualize the discovery of geothermal energy, the efficient and effective use of resources, and also highlighting the importance of geothermal energy in direct and indirect applications as well. And we are aiming to get an active role as an association, the public awareness. And of course, as we do that, we are aiming to work as an association that respects social and personal values, and also the importance of being eco-friendly. And it has almost been 20 years for me now, since 2001, with the forming process starting that year. I was a public servant back then, and now I am with you as head of an association. And as such, while we are talking about the future of renewable energy, we must talk about its past briefly as well. Because as you know, in renewable energy sector, we got a reform in 2001. And why so? Why did we need it? But then a lot of our energy sources were actually dependent on conventional fuels that came from foreign entities, and public institutions were very prevalent. Private sector was almost non-existent, and if so, they were very problematic. The market share of the private sector was very low, so we had to go through the alignment process with the EU and also the world, and a change in regulations and laws came by in 2001, and an executive authority was founded. We went through a transformation in energy in that period. Our power was about 26,000 megawatts. And like I said, private sector's role amounted up to almost only 1 or 2%, and the renewable energy resources were very few in between. And what kind of situation do we have now in geothermal energy? Back then, we had a capacity, a very limited capacity as well. So as we went through that reform, we first of all said we had to leave behind old habits, and we set goals for ourselves. Of course, we had a strategic plan. I don't remember all that much, but I guess in 2003, our projection was that by 2023, our goal increase the rate of renewable energies up to 25%, and in geothermal energy by 2023, our goal was 600 megawatts capacity, and today, right now, almost 65% of Turkey's electricity generation is done by the private sector, and we now have 1,650 megawatts of geothermal installed power. 30% of that is renewable energy. I think this is a very big miracle. We really gone over the goals set for 2023. And geothermal energy is one of the most important indicators in this. I talked about this because, as you know, in energy, the Green Deal and also some environmental issues, we need a reform once again. And while we have that reform, while we are witnessing that transformation, about which a lot of different panelists spoke about today, I'm sure, and we must, while we are doing those, take lessons from past applications and processes and get projections from those. So how did this miracle I've just mentioned come to be? Well, personally, I think the common and shared goals and ideas of the public and also the private sector, and the public taking the initiative, and also the investors believing in the process, of course, with working hard, we managed this. And one of the most important criteria is the promotion of renewable energies and some supplementary mechanisms being put in place, because, as you know, renewable energy resources are kind of risky, they are not stable, and power plants that are producing through conventional methods, they are having troubles in competing with those. So that's why you have to promote competition. And also, on the other hand, renewable energy is a very big source in the way that it is eco-friendly, and also it is good for the people, and it lessens foreign dependency. So we mentioned the Green Deal, a goal set forward by EU to be completely carbon neutral by 2050. And you may call this green transformation, etc. But I think this is not only a policy, this is actually more than a term, this is a responsibility. So EU's commitment to completely neutralize the greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. What kind of things can we predict about this goal in Turkey? I think the most important indicator would be the big industrial organizations, and also naturally the power generation side of the sector. The EU's Green Deal will not only affect the EU actors, as you can guess, it will also affect those who have commercial connections with EU members, and as a result, we must work and plan in line with the EU's projects. We must rapidly adapt to this transformation, or else there will be serious repercussions on our part. And some of the projects and activities run by our association, we say that yes, renewable, in terms of renewable energy, we made big progress, but there must still be very big goals for which we must strive for to be able to provide green energy to the industrial actors. We project about 50 megawatts of power. And I think the future of renewable energy in Turkey can be summarized in one sentence, and that is, renewable energy is a responsibility. And of course, as we do that, we must first of all think about the process that started in 2001, and we must keep the spirit in place that supported and incentivized action in this area. We need immediate planning of investments for the EU Green Deal, and also correct courses of action. And how does geothermal energy come into place here? I think in the renewable energy side, even though it's low in figures, to be able to give way to development, I think one of the most important and prevalent investments are the geothermal energy investments, because in the recent years it rose up to 1,650 megawatts. So that means we are worldwide in the 4th place, and in EU we are in the 1st place. We rose up more than 100 times. So people are paying for our expertise in this worldwide. And with these characteristics, geothermal energy investors have this characteristic which puts them forward. They differentiate in this way, and our geothermal resources up till now, our potential was about 35,000 megawatt thermal, and we now have a projection of 60,000 megawatt thermal. So this actually means that with today's projections, we can produce 5 megawatts. And of course, this may change with the advancements in technology in the future. And on the other hand, other than electricity generation, geothermal energy, the heating of greenhouses, we can take it up to 100 hectares. We can get the figures to millions even. And the tourism sector in some of the developed countries, geothermal resources bring forward very valuable inputs, and this is also very important economical resource for us as well, which we can use. We can go to more than 15 different applications, like chemical and drying and fishing. So a lot of direct and integrated applications can be possible through this. Geothermal also has this characteristic in terms of renewability. As you know, geothermal energy, despite being renewable, it doesn't depend on the climate conditions or the wind conditions. It can work 24/7 and 365 days. It needs a lot less space than the others. Also contributes to local employment very highly. So geothermal is in a very special place. It's almost an ancient place. And I don't know if you're aware, but sorry, Elif Hanım, but we are over time right now. Sorry to be cutting in. Okay, let me wrap up very quickly then. I would like to state that geothermal energy is very special. As you know, in the G8 summit, world leaders they took a photo in front of a geothermal resource to be able to express their sensitivity about eco-friendly applications. And also the Microsoft company, the technological giant, in their new systems in heating and cooling, they are going to change. They are aiming for geothermal energy in those applications. And again, in a research done in the UK, in a societal collapse due to climate change, the countries that would have agricultural spaces, and also the ones who would have hydraulic and also geothermal energy resources and applications would be coming out on top. Why do I say these things? Well, because those involved in geothermal energy usually think that they are like middle children of this family, this energy family. But we now see that we can put ourselves in a different light. We are actually more valuable. We were not even NICTAM applications actually in geothermal, but now we have come to a different place. We had a research process of about 4 to 5 years, and we do not want to complain too much, or we don't want to reveal too much, but in terms of NICTAM, we demand that our process is lengthened. We are granted more time for this process. And for the integrated identification, we are waiting for laws coming into place. Thank you so much for the great presentation. Now we will have Murat Bey as president of the JED. Murat Bey, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. So yes. I wanted to take a flight, so yes, in solar energy we reached up to 7,500. And in solar energy in Turkey right now, investors are very hungry, very much hungry. And the EECA processes are still going on. There will be a call for 1,000 more megawatts. And what should we do? What kind of roadmap should we be following for solar energy? So, Cembe, first of all, I'm not prepared, but I can say our solar energy is so popular right now and so high in demand. I mean, we talk about this each year, and I think we will not be faulty to say that for the last hour, by the way, I've been following the program, watching the program, especially from Altan Abi. I call him Abi Big Brother because we play table tennis with him. After his speech and his complaints, and also the geothermal energy presentation we just had for solar energy, I would say we cannot say the same things because it is in top position right now, undoubtedly worldwide. But we must look at this from 3 different perspectives, I would say. First of all, where is the world going? In which direction? Secondly, where does Turkey come into the picture in this? And also, third, where does technology go? Where will it take us? So let's talk about in which direction the world is going. Turkey, can I interrupt? Murat Bey, yes, of course. Can you please adjust your camera so that we can see your face? How is it right now? I guess we can see you right now. Yes, yes. Sorry. No, please. And if you could please speak more loudly, of course.
Now, where's the world headed to? 90,000 megawatts to 135,000 megawatts in 2020, but 111,000 megawatts were achieved despite COVID. This year they said 170,000, but because of raw materials, some problems, it's going to be around 140,000 megawatts. And 650,000 megawatts is the ultimate figure now around the world, almost. I don't have the latest facts in the coming 3 years or so. You know, we have 2023 targets. In the coming 4 years, the 250,000 megawatts are targeted as Turkey. It's 1% in the coming 3 years. If it's if it's going to be 1250 gigawatt, we need to be around 15 gigawatts or so. But in Turkey has a lot of sun. Thinking about our geography, this should be not 1%, but it should be 1.5%. It means 20,000 megawatts or so. Currently, as of September, it's 75,000 megawatts in terms of electricity, not mechanical peak. In terms of, but it's electricity in Turkey. In terms of mechanical peak, you know, DC-AC changes. It's going to be 120 or 130. It's around 10,000 megawatts or so if we align ourselves with the world approach. So 1250 gigawatts are envisioned for Turkey in the coming 3 years. For Turkey, for 2023, the target was around 7,500. It's going to be around 10,000. It's 7,500 now. But in my opinion, I mean, I remember back in 2013, the target for 2023 was 3,000 megawatts, if you remember. Later, it was rectified to 5,000 megawatts. Now we are at 7,500 in 2021. So it's increasing. The world is transforming. And the solar is the major source of transformation. As COE, we are talking about 1.5 cents or dollar cents, or it's like 15 kurush Turkish cents. The costs are like that, using today's technology, of course. The technology will advance, the costs will decline, and the efficiency of production will increase. And look at the electricity prices. It's 75 kurush in industry, in commercial establishments. It's like that. So every industry can use these solar panels on top of their roofs. It's proven now, and President made a declaration in New York about the Paris Declaration, because solar is all encompassing. It's easy to invest, of course. But what to do to pave the way? The solar is distinguished from hydro, biogas, and geothermal because it's expandable. You can expand that to the users. It's now presumption, the consumers produce it. In Turkey, the associations need to focus on this presumption. For this, we need awareness projects. As Jan said, we are going to attach importance to this. The more solar we have among the common people, the more powerful it will become. In some building, residential sites, they want to generate energy. But surplus energy may become subject to tax. This is a loophole. The association needs to pave the way to this. We are going to propose an amendment to the ministry. The more common it becomes, we are going to have more power, we are going to be more popular, we are going to be more aware. Coming to the industry, together with the 2019 changes in legislation, reduction legislation, only 250 megawatts were installed. Not bad. In 2020, 450 megawatts, despite COVID. And the COVID is ongoing. Despite the supply and raw material prices and increased prices, the installation costs rose by 20%. And the electricity prices don't affect this too much. Despite that, the demand is increasing. About rooftop for the industry, Murat, we are very late. Feraye, one last minute, but Chair, you didn't give me a lot of time. She's complaining. I can give the time, but the organizers don't give me the time. Okay, 2 minutes, please. What was I telling now? Okay, in the industry, we need to open the pathway. We have new legislation, but the regulations are needed to support the law. We can install this at different sites. The consumption can be different than production. But how about the distribution costs? This is confusing. We have the unification of consumption legislation. When you combine consumption, you don't know about the distribution prices. As an association, we deliver our opinions together with other associations. But the people have different priorities, of course. This is for rooftops, and then video YK. It was nearly 1 megawatts. We don't even need Yektem. And we need licenses who can sell to the free market. You know, renewable energy resource area 4 is upcoming now. YECA 4 is upcoming, but we still have bureaucratic barriers. I hope so. The solar has a lot of ways to go. Just to confirm, thank you very much. Thank you. Feray, sorry about that. The sector has a lot of challenges. The investment appetite is there. They are awaiting capacity. I feel sorry, and you know, we need more time for this discussion because there are so many problems to talk about. Yes, I'm aware, sir. Hopefully in the next meeting. I thank you very much for facilitating this session. Tolga, thank you very much. Altan, thank you very much. Elif and Iskender, thank you all. Now over to Phyllis. Have a good evening. Now we are going to have Phyllis in a few moments. She is with us. Sorry, Phyllis. You know, this delay comes from early in the morning. Time management is its own thing, I know. Yes, you can share your own screen. You see it now? Not yet. It says I'm sharing now. Yes, we have your screen. Please make it full screen. What I'll do is it's 120 people are live watching you. I've heard about the share screen problems. First of all, the name ICCI has the Cogeneration Association. I'm a member of the association. So I tried very hard to be part of this. We had the 7th Istanbul Carbon Summit yesterday. So I just wanted to say something new to our viewers. I have my presentation for that. And I had to complete this 50 minutes ago, because I have another meeting. They are overlapping now. I prepared a lot. Feraye, perhaps I can present my notes in another one. Now, just at this moment, I have to be in another meeting in the US. So time management is crucial. The ICCI community is precious to us. Mr. Özkan Ağaç, I greet you. Our chairman of association, Mr. Aydın, I greet you. I congratulate you. So allow me. I have to be in the other meeting. Of course, Professor. I just wanted to make this suggestion to you. We are late by 45 minutes. It's very appropriate, Yes, I'm a Republican teacher who made a lot of preparations. Okay, let's manage time better next time. So, Feraye, what I say is, and ladies and gentlemen, first of all, take care of yourself, have a good energy, take care of the environment and climate. Be good, be healthy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. Apologies once again. Today, yes, we have been delayed. The moderators try to do their best, but only this much. But we'll remain together. Yes. Yes, being with your teachers gives the experience. So, good evening. Thank you, Professor. Okay, goodbye. So, I'm going to do the closing. Yes, Phyllis had to wait a lot, and she has other commitments, obviously. I thank everyone for being with us. It's been a successful day. Our viewer traffic is more than 4,000 from Streamline and YouTube. I thank all the speakers, the moderators, and officials that joined us. We are going to start at 10 o'clock, not 9:30. The first session will be emission reduction certificates and carbon credit trade. Very important and very appropriate. Let me close the day. Have a good evening.